very much, Agnihotri ji, the chief guest, and all the distinguished guests on the dais, and all the other guests present in this hall. It's always a great opportunity for me, and whenever there's something on renewable energy, I always feel like being here. For one simple reason that way back in 1974, when Dr. Bhide started writing the first concept paper when he was working in NPL, I was not in NPL, but I was also associated with him. So that renewable energy in India, that was the concept paper written way back in 74. And then we started with a small three-man division in DST in 75, 76. Since I had been associated with all of them, I did the first village in Acheja in Ghaziabad. And that was simultaneous with the village in Khandia in Gujarat, which were working on renewable energy. So anything that is happening on renewable energy, if it's taking place, I'm always excited to be here. And I'm very happy that Dr. Anil Garg has given me this opportunity to be here. Uh, I must appreciate the effort that Dr. Garg is making, and he involves every time he involves one of the former secretaries of the concerned ministry in the department as the chairman of the steering committee. The advantage that we have is that with his background, with his knowledge, he is able to structure the conference in such a manner that the output from this conference becomes really, really useful for the government to undertake. I remember till a few years back, people used to talk on the lighter side that an IS officer comes to MNRE as a waiting on the platform and would leave after some time. Till Mr. Deepak Gupta took over and he stood for more than 3 years. But subsequently other secretaries took time. And as a matter of fact, after Mr. Deepak Gupta's term, the ministry has really taken a lot of rational decisions, which has really seen the day. I remember in 2005 when we had the Integrated Energy Policy Committee with Dr. Parekh chaired, and I was also a member on that. When we had a meeting that time, when we wanted certain targets to be set, the secretary and the joint secretary from the ministry thought that that may not be feasible in 2020. But look at the positive actions taken by some of the past secretaries in the ministry and the officers. Now we are talking in terms of 175 megawatts to be achieved in 2021-22, and we can really be grateful. And this is in the wider energy context and the energy security context. If you look at it, globally, everyone was thinking that energy is available only in few geographic locations where fossil energy is being located, and they would always be controlling, and countries like India will always remain the importers. But by opening up of the renewable energy sector in such a large extent and the prices coming down, you will find there is a great geographic shift in the availability of energy and the availability of and the use of energy. In other terms, the access to energy and the affordability of the energy would change, and this will change the whole shape of things, and one has to really see what happens over the last 25 years. Now, with this background, let me now read out, sir. I have the great pleasure and the honor to read out the declaration from this conference. The World Renewable Energy Technology 2015, the declaration. The 6th WRETC 2015 convened at the Convention Center, NDCC, Parliament Street, New Delhi, India through August 21 to 23, held extensive discussions on various facets of renewable energy, technology, financing and utilization, and adopted the following resolutions. Number one, Draft Renewable Energy Bill 2015 released by MNRE reflects government's intent to create a regulatory framework for growth of renewable energy supply in India. All stakeholders should project their considered viewpoints for finalization of the draft bill and assist MNRE in presenting a bill that support rapid and cost-effective growth of the sector. The recommendation 2, renewable energy applications have spread through appropriate policy framework of the government and the initiative and entrepreneurship of the private industry. This market-based mechanism needs to be further strengthened by addressing policy and regulatory issues so that more transparency and compliance to law is feasible and this sector grows in a self-regulatory mode. Recommendation 3. Renewable energy being on the concurrent list in the center and state governments have often created divergent stand on generation and transmission of renewable energy based supply and services. Clarity must be brought around on powers, rights, responsibilities and duties of central and state governments for smooth introduction of renewable energy applications. Recommendation 4. Skills development and capacity building is another initiative of the government. A large skills development and capacity building program in renewable energy sector needs to be developed by MNRE in collaboration with professional bodies like the Institution of Engineers, Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, Consulting Engineers Association of India and others. An assessment of demand of skilled personnel from cutting edge to which end R&D should be made at an early date and an academy industry interaction intensified on this basis. Number 5, renewable energy supply has gained center stage and is now considered on equal footing with other fossil sources of energy in terms of cost generation and supply. This has been achieved through rapid reduction in cost of solar photovoltaic cells globally. However, the subsystem costs in India remain an area of concern and offset the basic advantage of cost reduction. Innovative technological and engineering interventions should be promoted so that the subsystem costs are also controlled and reduced. Recommendation 6. Renewable energy application and energy efficiency are the two major pillars of smart city concept. As the government is focusing on smart city, renewable energy based systems for lighting, heating and cooling should be incorporated at the architectural and design stage, both for passive as well as active formats, along with energy efficient appliances. Recommendation 7. The government should intensify green corridors with the conventional national grid to ensure smart evacuation of the energy generated. Recommendation 8. New renewable energy policy framework should be put in place at the earliest with a separate focus on grid connected and off-grid applications. The economic and social advantages should be specifically included in the policy. Recommendation 9. The emerging scenario where in spite of oil prices reducing globally and renewable energy applications are increasing indicate that renewable energy systems operate in an environment where they can compare with the price of electricity generation and not the price of oil. Future comparisons should take into consideration this aspect and the real value of the service. Recommendation 10. The global dynamics of energy are changing because renewables have become relatively inexpensive and the electricity services based on renewable are comparing that from other fossil sources. The advantage of fossil resource rich countries is slowly reducing and allowing underdeveloped and developed countries to become self-reliant in energy sector. Studies should be initiated on changing energy dynamics for future energy security. Recommendation 11. Continued policy and financial support for technology development and renewable energy remain necessary to bring down costs further. Number 12. Sustainable energy for all has been promoted by the United Nations with a focus on contribution of renewable sources of energy to increase substantially by 2030. This movement is creating new markets in Asia, Africa and Latin America. Renewable energy industry in India should be supported to explore these markets and become leader in the global arena. Recommendation 13. Affordable energy storage is a priority need to make decentralized renewable energy systems attractive to the users. Strong R&D initiatives are needed in the energy storage area. Recommendation 14. Banks and financial institutions are involved in supporting funding for renewable energy projects. However, more transparency and ease of fund access must be ensured. New emerging and innovative financing models now appearing globally must be studied and applied by banking and non-banking financial institutions. Reduction of all forms of risk is key to reduce cost of capital. Recommendation 15. Post-2015 UN Sustainable Agenda is focusing on sustainability aspects with a thrust on avoiding greenhouse gases. Renewable energy systems provide a significant opportunity and should be projected appropriately by the government and various other stakeholders for its sustainability advantage. Specific mandate should be decided for banking sector so that they offer preferential rate of interest for sustainability-based projects. 16. Electric vehicles and biofuels must be promoted to extend renewable energy applications in the transportation sector. All transportation modes should be considered. 17. Renewable energy sector is one of the 25 sectors identified under the Make in India initiative of the government. A policy framework should be created for involving renewable energy industry and providing them a conducive play field. The WRETC invites the global green renewable energy community to assemble again in New Delhi, India for the 6th World Renewable Energy Technology Congress and Expo from 21 to 23rd August 2016. Signed by Mr. Dr. Satish Agnihotri and other colleagues. This, ladies and gentlemen, are the recommendations out of this conference, which will go out as a declaration, and I'm sure Dr. Agnihotri would take it to the government and may find many of these into the Renewable Energy Act that's now coming forth. Thank you very much.